Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Division Z podcast. My name is Jason.
And I am K Cosmic.
Today, my friend, we have a lot to talk about, and you guys at home might notice we have a new background in the background. I don't know what other word I was trying to say, but we have a new background. We have a new background for Terra Maledicta. This is one of the new images that Treyarch put out, so thanks, Treyarch. And so we just wanted to have this up.
We're just going to borrow this.
We're going to borrow it. We're going to borrow it real quick. But yeah, man, I mean, look at this. Look at this in the background. The Dark Ether in Vanguard looks pretty. It looks really, really great. Shout out to the art department.
Yeah, one thing we can say for certain is the art team always nails it. Always.
For sure.
Even if the fundamental game isn't great itself, as far as the art style and going on these nice shots we've been given.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
It's very, very nice. I mean, I think the thing that I like the most is, let me see if I can have my finger in the right position here. Up there, where you got the floating rocks, and you got
that's cool, isn't it?
That's pretty cool. It reminds me of hell in a way, which I guess the Dark Ether is the zombies equivalent of hell. So I guess that makes sense. So
it fits quite well.
Absolutely, man. Well, today we have a lot of stuff to talk about, actually. A lot happened this week. We had the reveal of Terra Maledicta. Season 2 is happening tomorrow. Warzone updates and news, and the developers literally admitted that they fucked up. And, you know, there's just a lot to talk about today. So let's recap a bit, shall we? I think we should start with Terra Maledicta, my friend. What are your thoughts about the map? Do you think this is going to be better than Duran Fong or not?
So I think it'll be better. I think we'll go. I don't think they release something worse than that. I don't think that's possible. I think it will be better. I think it will be. I think it'll be a little bit more maybe engaging in some aspects as well. I don't think it'll hold up after a week. I still don't think. I think after a week's time, people will be bored again. It'd be cool to have that there. Something definitely to help, and as well, it depends what it offers as well inside it.
I see.
I've seen a little bit. I don't know. Have they released information about what the map holds in it? Like
so
trials?
They basically a little bit of information from the roadmaps that we got throughout the week. We're getting a new wonder weapon called the Decimator Shield, which looks pretty cool. We have some new areas to teleport to. We have a new boss that we're gonna have to take down called Zabala the Deceiver.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's honestly really about it. I mean, we have the new field upgrade. Well, not field upgrade. They're artifacts in this game. Healing Aura.
Artifacts,
Verkana the Last is the Dark Ether entity associated with that. And by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but you actually were able to access Healing Aura before Season 2, because when they added the ray gun in the patch on February 10th, they also updated the default classes in zombies to have one of them have Healing Aura. So I was testing out Healing Aura the other day, and honestly, it's pretty good in Vanguard. It's pretty good. Yeah, I could see people really using that a lot for co-op games. I think it's pretty good.
Oh, it's pretty nice. I'm just trying to find. Here we go. I got the roadmap here.
Oh, well, there you go.
See what everything in it, because I know there's a few things I may have missed out on.
Oh, and the Origins dig sites.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. So I've seen the shield.
Yeah,
that looks Apothecant, doesn't it?
You know what? I think there could be some Apothecant ties there for sure, man. The first thing I thought of when we got a special shield is like the Guard of Fafnir.
No, I think with it looks Apothecant, like that. I think it has in it. That really kind of sells it, doesn't it?
I think there is.
I hope it is. I hope it ties into like some of the older games. I know that universe technically isn't like canon, but it is, right? And there's room for things to kind of leak out of it. If it is, it'd be cool. If it doesn't go anywhere, then it's fine. But if it does, then that's quite cool.
I mean, hey, with where the Dark Ether storyline is going, and the Dark Ether entities are like these all-powerful beings that come from the Dark Ether, I would not be surprised if they were Apothecant descendants or mutated Apothecants in some regard, or something like that, because the storytelling technically, of course, the Ether storyline is gone. It's over with, but that's all been banished to the Dark Ether, you know? So it's not, it exists there, but it doesn't exist in the normal world. So it's kind of this weird dynamic where apothecans could still be a thing, but, you know, we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
We'll have to, wait and see what happens. What do you think of the ray gun so far?
Honestly, man, yeah, the ray gun, it's not terrible.
It's not it.
But it's not the greatest either. You know, it's kind of, I guess mediocre would be the word to use for the ray gun in Vanguard. Because the ray gun's pretty good if you're using it from, I would say, maybe rounds 1 to 18 or 19. But then once you hit the 20s, you start kind of, okay, this really isn't that great. And the shotguns are still king in Vanguard. I would still prefer using the Einhorn revolving shotgun or the combat shotgun over the ray gun just because of how powerful the shotguns are in Vanguard. And it just, the ray gun, it's a little disappointing, a little bit. But at the same time, it's like the ray gun doesn't even feel like it fits in the game now, if that makes any sense.
Does it feel... No, because I'm not going to lie, I haven't played it. I just haven't played it. I haven't had the chance to. And even like something like the ray gun, it doesn't really want to bring me back to it. I'm having a lot more fun playing the old games as of the moment. So I'm probably not going to... I'll play a little bit of Season 2 when I get a chance. But
For sure,
I'll probably let it die down from the hype and that.
We got to hop into a game of Terra Maledicta.
Oh,
we gotta do something. We got to do the Easter egg.
We can... Oh yeah, because there's an Easter egg coming out. But I've heard things about that as well.
Yeah, we won't get into that just in case it's true.
No.
But we'll leave that till launch day.
Yeah, we'll leave that till launch day. But no, I seen the actual gameplay of the ray gun. It looks like the splash damage. It looks really like you know, like when it shoots on the ground and like the way it like impacts something.
Right.
It looks like more of like how do I put it? I know it's an explosion, right? But it looks like a grenade going off.
It's very minimal, the splash damage, actually.
Is it?
It only takes away like 15 or 20 of your health. Like, it's really not much at all. So, in that regard, I think that that's a good feature, that the ray gun doesn't do as much splash damage. If anything, now knowing that the ray gun doesn't do a lot of splash damage on you, I think that all but confirms that I think PhD isn't coming to Vanguard, because I know a lot of people, when I was streaming the other day when the ray gun came out, a lot of people were saying, oh my gosh, wow, now that the ray gun is in Vanguard, that means they're going to add PhD, or they should add PhD. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I just don't think Vanguard needs PhD. I mean, some of the explosive weapons aren't terrible, but it just doesn't need PhD. It really doesn't.
Doesn't warrant it adding in a perk for it when there's only like 3 weapons. It would be good against. I know they could do other abilities with it, like slide longer, you know, an explosive slide. That'd be cool, but I think that's probably not. That's probably not where their priorities are at the moment. I think they're probably going to try and get the game at a more kind of solid state.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Get the game to work a little bit better.
Yeah,
but yeah, man. So ray gun, that's in the game. It's mediocre. I mean, that's really about it for that. Healing Aura is pretty good. The tier 4 ability of Healing Aura, for those of you at home who also don't know, is when you revive a teammate, they keep their perks, and it keeps their perk tiers too. So you know how expensive those perks are in Vanguard, where you know you're going to be paying 7,500 for the tier 4 ability of all the perks together. That's going to be super expensive if you go down and you have to rebuy those. But with Healing Aura tier 4, you can save your teammates some money, which is great. So that's a good ability. And I think a lot of people should run Healing Aura on co-op for Vanguard for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good that they're adding in like new specialists and that as well. I think it adds a little bit more variety to it, obviously. I think that's what we kind of need in the game as well, along with like, I don't know. Are your thoughts still that the game needs round-based, or are you just going to take what you can get from it at this point?
I still think the game could use round-based.
Okay, because I believe that as well, but I'm more like, how many months are we into the game now? About 3 months or so? Maybe a little bit more?
A little bit more.
Maybe coming up to like 4 months maybe coming up to?
Yeah.
Well, like, I feel like at this point, is it even worth it? Because by the time round-based is introduced into the game,
I mean,
you know, how many round-based maps are we going to have? I think maybe what they can do is the final thing they put out for the game. maybe make that a round base map at this point, because I think it's too late to start adding a round base.
I think where they could really sell people or really get people to come back to the game when it comes to round based is just take some of the regions that you teleport to on Duran Fong and Terra Maledicta and make those round based maps. You know, I mean, I think a lot of people would love. I mean, okay, I know. I know we technically have round base with Shino Numa and the Void objective, right? Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That's their kind of response because they don't want to get rid of their idea to have the teleportation thing, and they don't want to get rid of any of that. I totally get that. And I think it could be a very unique gameplay choice if Duran Fong was actually completed and Duran Fong was actually a good game, a good map. However, because we're kind of forced to do that, you know, it kind of makes us feel like, oh, well, you know, this is round based, but it feels empty and hollow. So I feel like with Shino Numa, it needs to be its own map for it to be round based, or, you know, things like Hotel Royale, or what's one of the new regions in Terra Maledicta, Eastern Desert. I think that could be its own region, depending on what, you know, or not region. It's already a region. Its own round based map, from the, you know, separate from the hub, which obviously Stalingrad is the hub of Duran Fong, and then you have, I think it's the Dark Ether or somewhere in Egypt is supposed to be the hub for Terra Maledicta. So
I think it's Egypt, and then you teleport to different parts, and I think one of them is including the Dark Ether, from what I can gather. From it, at least.
Because originally I thought we were starting in the Dark Ether. I thought the Dark Ether was the hub, but yeah, seeing some more about it does look like Egypt is going to be the hub, and then you teleport to the Dark Ether. Which makes me really hopeful that the Dark Ether is actually the void of Terra Maledicta, so we can play round based, quote unquote, in the Dark Ether.
Yeah. I mean, my thing with it is I appreciate that they're trying to put it in.
Yeah.
And they obviously did that with Shino Numa, but you have to jump through so many loops, jump through so many hoops to get there to actually play it.
Yeah.
And I feel like as well, this is something, like, I don't know why it hasn't properly come back yet, right? Is leaderboards, right? Like, with your actual profile, right? Leaderboards in general, I know that a lot of them got hacked in that, and I know there's like websites like Zombie World Records, whatever, right?
Right.
But I feel like leaderboards for round base were so good when they were more relevant, and the only reason I say that is because I feel like with that, there's a lot more competition with competing with your friends, right? Now, for the people that aren't super hardcore and don't really care that much, but let's say I seen you got to round like 50, right? And I was like, I'm gonna get to round 60 to beat him, you know? That could be that kind of has a little bit of that competitive atmosphere, if you get what I mean. But obviously we can't really do that with this new kind of void round-based game mode. At least I don't think that's how it works, is it? It's not like
no, there's no leaderboards, there's no anything like that. I mean, it's honestly round-based in name only, because it really functions. It's, you know, it's so hard to, you know, really say anything. I mean, because it's weird. It's a double-edged sword, because it is round-based, but at the same time it's not round-based. So you kind of have to think about both sides of the argument here, where you go, okay, you have the rounds go up like they normally do, and you have a set amount of zombies per round. So does that mean it's round based? You know, but I think where it's not necessarily round based, at the end of every single round, you get more points. Like, you literally get a bonus point at the end of every single round. You have the opportunity to leave at every single round, and there aren't as many zombies per round as there would be a normal round base. So I guess in a roundabout way, yes, you could say it is round based, because think about this as well. If we're talking about Shino Numa, World at War Shino Numa, 24 zombies, right? So,
well, there you go.
I think we can classify this as round based. It just feels weird.
So stripped down.
It feels kind of stripped down. It feels kind of weird. And also because there's only the pack punch machine there, and there's no perk machines there. There's no crafting table. Only the pack punch machine is there, which I don't inherently have a problem with that, because other maps like Farm don't have a pack punch machine. Literally, Bus Depot has nothing. So I feel like, I mean, just because all the other perks are established on the map, I don't know. To me, it feels kind of weird. I can't quite put it into words. I'm kind of stumbling over my words here, as you guys can tell. I really can't quite put it into words how weird it feels, but at the same time, I guess it's kind of a neat addition. But long story short, I'll stop my incoherent rambling. We need separate round-based maps, separate of the hub-based maps or the base camp-based maps. I don't know what kind of thing you want to call them, but we definitely need that separate category.
I feel like even commenting on the comment on farm you're talking about with Bus Depot and farm, and I'll throw in here town as well. Some have pack a punch, some don't. Some have perks, some don't. Right? I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing either.
Right.
I think if they wanted to in the future with Vanguard Zombies or the next COD game, if they want to make a trial map with no perks, no pack a punch, just bare bones, like nothing.
Yeah.
Then that adds something kind of different, and you're limited to such an extent where, okay, I have to be smart with my training. If I get hit twice, I go down, or 3 times even. If I don't, if I have a wonder weapon, I won't have a lot of ammo for it in the later rounds because I'll end up using it. I don't think that'd be such a bad thing either.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think now that I finally have a grasp of what I'm trying to say, where when you have a map like Duran Fong, and it's trying to be a combination of round-based and Outbreak because you don't earn as many points for killing zombies. The zombies get a lot harder, a lot quicker. You get a lot more special enemies a lot earlier in the rounds. I think that's what makes it feel weird, where you have these Outbreak elements in this thing that's supposed to be only round-based, but it's in your round-based Outbreak hybrid. Like, so it feels kind of weird in that way, that it's like you're trying to too many cooks, kind of, right? There's too many cooks in the kitchen. There's too many things happening at the same time that kind of make you go, yeah, this is kind of weird. Why does my meat taste funny? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's too many things that, like, too many ideas been thrown into this game mode.
Right.
They want to work so bad. And I'm not thinking against new ideas. Absolutely new ideas. Go ahead and try. But when they don't work, it's one of the things where I feel like you have to kind of like accept it. Outbreak worked.
Because there's a lot more at launch.
Yeah, a lot more at launch. It was its own thing, separate from round-based zombies. It wasn't trying to be round-based zombies.
Mm-hmm.
You could progress through the surges. That's what they called.
Okay, so you could say either regions or difficulty levels.
Yeah, so we'll say rounds. We'll say rounds.
Yeah, okay.
You can progress through the rounds if you wanted to. If not, you could stay and just kill zombies, do weapon challenges, do some things around the map. There's a lot you could do in itself, right?
Yeah.
With this, it just doesn't feel like it. It feels like, again, like you're saying, and I hope it isn't the case for this new map coming out. What's it called? I can't even pronounce it.
Terra Maledicta.
Terra Maledicta. Okay, a tongue twister, right? But I hope it's not like that for this, right? But I have a strong feeling that it'll just be like the launch map we've got on Duran Fong. I think it'll be very much like that. I think it'll be enjoyable for what it is. I don't think it'll be, how do I say? Because Vanguard Zombies in itself isn't awful. When you look at it, right? It's not dreadful. Okay, well, hear me out here, right? It's zombies.
It's not great either, though.
It's not great. No, it's the worst zombie experience we've had. I put Exo Zombies above it, but 100%. Well, 100%, because at least with Exo Zombies, like, you have round base, and Exo Zombies in itself, the first map most likely has more content in it than
I mean, I guess you're probably right about that, because I mean, at launch, right? You have the first Exo Zombies map with, it literally had a wonder weapon, and it literally had a pack punch camo and an Easter egg, and other things like that. So I guess you could make that argument for sure. I mean, now that Duran Fong has those things, I mean, it kind of feels weird, but
it feels like, I don't know, because I'm still looking at it as, this game didn't launch a wonder weapon, didn't launch an Easter egg. Is Duran Fang getting an Easter egg, or is it coming to this new map?
So see here, that's the funny part. So
does no one know?
remember when they were like, hey, by the way, the Easter egg for Duran Fong, the story quest for Duran Fong is coming with Season 2, right? Remember when they said that? Well,
yeah.
Forget that. Forget what you know. The story quest is in Terra Maledicta now. So
But that makes
literally,
no sense. They were adding Easter egg steps.
the half quest we have in Duran Fong currently is the Easter egg. Okay? Literally,
So-
that is all we have right now for an Easter egg. Nobody has any idea what the hell is happening with Duran Fong. And I think I agree with my chat. The chat and I were talking about this the other day, where I think Duran Fong, I think they realized, okay, we messed up. We messed this up.
We have made a no-no.
Let's make Terra Maledicta the Duran Fong that it should have been, right? So I think Terra Maledicta can be their chance to actually have a complete map and a complete experience like they wanted to have with Duran Fong, which is why they're starting with a wonder weapon. They're starting with a pack punch camo and an Easter egg. You know, they want to have a legitimate experience and just kind of can Duran Fong in a way where now I think Duran Fong is kind of a filler map to get us to be like, right, guys, remember Duran Fong and how you guys didn't like that? Well, here's Terra Maledicta. This is what it should have been. What do you guys think? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I get that feeling, and the chat had that feeling too. And I think I'm inclined to agree that I think we might be getting a situation like that. I just,
By the way,
it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
As time goes on, you remember that comment I made about Paul's feature and it being the next factions of zombies?
Right. No, it's definitely going to be.
It's looking a lot more likely, and I think as time goes
Yeah.
on and we're at like season 3, it'll be like, what's the point? They
Yeah,
haven't
I mean,
added it in
yeah.
yet.
I mean, dude,
I think
you're not wrong.
I am so confident. I am so confident that just that feature, I don't think it'll be added in. If it is added in, that's great. I'm wrong, right?
Right,
But
right.
my guess is that it won't be added in. And that is
Yeah.
that. I genuinely believe that. And there's no the only evidence I have is Duran Fong and all the other issues with it.
Your
But
only
I can
evidence
just
is
see it
Duran
happening.
Fong and what happened with factions.
Yeah, exactly. That's my two things tying it together.
That is your evidence.
But
Yeah.
it shows that with Treyarch, right? And I'm not gonna. It's not their fault because it's all under Activision, right?
Right. We'll
this
talk
point.
about that a little bit
I-
later.
Yeah, but you see with factions, that was something the community was excited for, right?
Right.
And it just never happened because the game did poorly.
And
But
now
they still added in maps. They still added in all this fun stuff, right, for the game.
Right.
But the game just did poorly over time because it just didn't feel right. Whatever your excuse was, right?
Yeah.
This game is doing awful. There's nothing going for it.
Yeah. And now people are excited over a pause button. So
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I mean,
So
it's
like,
pretty wild to think about where we are right now as a community, man. It's kind of crazy.
man, listen. I think there should be a new challenge, right? And every zombie player should do it, right? Before you play Duran Fong, what you have to do is drink two gallons of water.
2 gallons
Okay.
of water.
Just drink as much as you can, right? Everyone has to do it, and then you have to play, and then you have to play for time. If you have to piss, that's you've lost. You've
right,
lost. You have to cut off.
right.
That's it,
Because you can't go
pause.
to the bathroom.
You
Right.
can't pause. Yeah. So you either quit or you keep playing and crying. So there's no
You
option.
keep playing and crying. Oh, man.
I want to say, I think Zombie World Records, if you like that idea, take it.
Yeah,
I'll let you
fucking
have it. I won't charge like a copyright over anything.
going
don't
to the
worry.
bathroom high rounds. That would be the category there. Jesus, that's why.
High round players will be fighting for their lives. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, I did 100%. Yeah.
Imagine them streaming.
They're like I'm fine, guys. I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
God, that.
Oh man.
But no, I again finish that little thing off. Pause button. Don't think it'll be there. Pretty confident on that fact. I think by the end of the game's life cycle, it'll be fine. I think the game will be fine. I think we might get one. I think we'll get 2 more where outbreak round based mashed together things. I think we'll get 2 more.
Yeah, I think so.
And then that
too.
will be it most likely.
Yeah,
And
I
then
would
that'll
agree.
be it. But like,
Yeah. That's that.
Don't be
That's
sad.
that. I mean,
don't be
I don't
sad.
know.
These things happen.
Don't be sad. I mean, blunders happen all the time. Which is a good segue. Speaking of blunders, Some pretty big news coming out of Activision today about Warzone and Modern Warfare 2 and things like that.
Oh, yes.
Modern Warzone, Charlie Intel, a lot of these other guys in the community met with representatives from Activision, representatives from Infinity Ward, and basically the developers admitted they fucked up. And they're not even happy with the state of Warzone. They're not happy with how the game is, the glitches, the crashes, all the crap that's happening in the game. You could list off so many features that are broken about Warzone that a lot of people are super fed up with it. I believe it was earlier today or yesterday. I forgot what it was. But there was a report coming in that on Xbox alone in the last month, there were over 5 million crashes on Warzone. So
that is mental.
They really fucked up. And so the developers themselves realized, they're like, yeah, so after we... basically what they said is after that Black Ops Cold War was implemented into Warzone, the Cold War weapons and all that kind of stuff, that's when things started to go downhill. Because they felt as if Warzone wasn't going to have its own identity anymore. And they felt like when they were going to add more things to the game, they're going to add more weapons, they're going to add more whatever, Warzone was going to lose its identity, and then there's going to be more problems with the game because they're adding too many things, and it's getting just inflated. This huge inflatable balloon that's ready to pop. And I think this is their breaking point now. Their balloons have popped, and now, they kind of realize we have to address this. We have to address this because we screwed up, and it's one of those things where we as a community hope that they follow through on the promises that they made about they're fixing glitches, they're fixing things, they're putting features in the game that should have been there before. Like, I'm sure you've seen the infamous gas mask animation where people are putting on their gas mask in the middle of a gunfight and they die. Well, that's going to be fixed to where there's no animation anymore. If you're aiming down sights, your gas mask just goes on. It's on. So that's great.
It's fine.
So they're going to implement changes like that. They're going to fix glitches. They're going to fix a bunch of stuff. And then they also said for Warzone 2, which is going to run off of the same engine as Modern Warfare 2 coming out later this year, it's going to be a completely new engine, built from the ground up. They're going to completely redo the game, and they want to make Warzone 2 have its own really unique identity, which is, from what I think is going to happen, is they're only going to have the Modern Warfare 2 weapons in Warzone. I don't think they're going to do the cross weaponry like they did with Vanguard and Cold War.
Yeah.
I don't see them doing that anymore. So they're going to try to make Warzone 2 have its own identity. And of course, they did confirm that this year's Call of Duty is a direct sequel to Modern Warfare 2019, which is why people are calling it Modern Warfare 2. And yeah, I mean, also, ranked play is coming to Warzone as well. So they're going to have ranked lobbies, and for people, all the sweats can go over there. And, I think there's a lot of stuff. I know I just said a lot of things in the span of like 3 or 4 minutes there, but it's a lot to take in, and it's a huge community update that I'm glad they're taking steps in the right direction to really help out the community to fix the game and to add things that should have been there from the start, and really try to strengthen this community right before the Microsoft acquisition so that Microsoft can have maybe an easier time with what's going on. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on all that?
First of all, Modern Warfare 2, I think pretty much everyone knew about that, and that was probably most likely what's going to happen because Modern Warfare 2019 did so well. So, step in the right direction, in my opinion, personally. Warzone 2, another good idea. I think Warzone was a perfect trial test for what they could do with a battle royale. But like they said, for the engine they had, and I'm pretty sure it's down to the hardware of them trying to make it work on Xbox One and PS4.
Right.
That's why we didn't have FOV sliders on anything.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna cut you off real quick. They did address the FOV sliders too. They said the reason why there are no FOV sliders on next gen hardware, because a lot of people were asking for that, is because they didn't want it to be unfair for the people who were on the previous generations, like PS4 and 360, right? Which I think is kind of funny because PC already has FOV slider. Like,
I can play in this thing. I have an FOV slider.
What is that? Oh yeah. There you go.
PC FOV slider in this thing.
FOV slider. There you go. So they wanted to, in their words, they didn't want to increase the skill gap even further. That was their reasoning.
Okay.
Which, like, I understand what
But
they're
then in
going
that case,
for,
why?
but at the
In
same
that
time,
case, then
PC still
why?
has it, and you still have crossplay. And I come across a lot of PC players, and I get shredded by a lot of PC players. So I mean, what would realistically be the difference? I'm just saying. But
I don't
I
think
can
there would
maybe
be. I think
understand. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying I don't see there being much of a difference with that. I think it's just the case that man, I wouldn't see I wouldn't see it as an excuse, but maybe they were telling themselves, "Oh yeah, we don't want this because of that, and not because of the hardware issues that was happening with last gen." Because no, it doesn't really make sense, for does it? Because PC can do it, right?
Well, that's what
And
I'm
I
saying,
don't
right?
think,
PC can do it. So I mean, really,
yeah,
realistically, what's the difference between that and adding more people on FOV? But maybe because the hardware, right? They don't want people on the older hardware complaining about it now, I guess, because
yeah,
if you give PS5 and Xbox One Series S or X the FOV slider option, then you got to give PS4 and Xbox One the FOV slider option. And I don't think they have the capabilities to do that for the old gen hardware.
no,
So
not at all.
I think honestly that's probably the best move they can do. And then for Warzone 2, add the FOV slider for every platform. I think it needs to be worked on for sure. And I think a lot of people who are still complaining about the FOV slider, I think what we all need to realize now, or at least I realized afterwards, because I always wanted an FOV slider on console too. But the thing that I realized is because, well, hang on, they just apologized for everything else being broken in the game. Who's to say the FOV slider isn't also going to be broken in the game? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, I mean, I think we need to give them some time to work on the FOV slider on Warzone 2. But go ahead and continue what you were saying. I just want to bring that up as well because they did address it.
No, absolutely. I know they addressed it or something. I just couldn't remember exactly what it was they said. So thank you for that. But what do we think is going to happen to normal Warzone then? Did they say anything about that?
I
Like
mean, they're
just your
still
standard Warzone?
just going to keep updating it with the Vanguard stuff. They're still going to try to do bug fixes. They're still going to try to fix the glitches. But, other than that, they're just going to ride out Warzone until Warzone 2 comes out,
But
presumably
then,
alongside Modern Warfare 2. I would assume Warzone 2 is coming with, if I had to guess.
even after that, right? Let's say Warzone 2 comes out. Is standard Warzone once Warzone 2 is that just going to be like turned off, or is that going to be kept on? What is
Well,
actually going to happen
see,
with that one there?
here's the thing with that. They also addressed that, originally what they wanted Warzone to be tied in with Modern Warfare, like it launched with, right? Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare was synonymous with Warzone. And you had to boot up Modern Warfare. You had to buy Modern Warfare to play Warzone. But as the popularity continued to grow, and then they started to implement the different features and the different weaponry to the game, they separated Modern Warfare and Warzone, and they made Warzone its own downloadable game. If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm a little bit hazy on this one. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. They mentioned that they wanted Warzone 2 and Modern Warfare 2 to have that pairing that Modern Warfare and Warzone 1 had at the start, and they want Warzone 2 to be synonymous with Modern Warfare 2. And they want that to be, oh, you want to play Warzone 2? Boot up Modern Warfare 2 because that's the game that it's on. I could be mistaken about that, and they want to go back to that system. But again, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm a little bit hazy.
So do you mean as in Warzone 2 wouldn't be free to play? Is that what you mean, or?
I believe so. I believe so. Again,
No,
I'm not entirely sure because there was a lot of information yesterday. I don't remember every little fine detail, but I think it was something along those lines, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, with Warzone, it was never the case you had to pay. You just get it for free. You could download it. I think what you had to do was, I think you had to install Modern Warfare, but you could do that for free at the time, and then Warzone would be added on to that, if you get what I mean. I think originally you couldn't download them separately, but you had the option to get Warzone for free, and then it would show like the in-game stuff for Modern Warfare, but you just couldn't touch anything. It had to say this content hasn't been purchased.
But it wasn't like that from the beginning, was it? I don't think it was.
I'm pretty sure with Warzone when it came out, it was free.
Was it?
And I think the one thing that was different was it wasn't its own app. Because you know how Warzone is its own client now. Like, you know how you download Warzone from the store?
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Where Warzone is its own thing. So what they want to do with Modern Warfare 2 is like, you can't.
Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, like you need to do it in Modern Warfare 2. So that way, that way you don't That's what I'm saying about separating Warzone and Modern Warfare. That's exactly what I'm saying. Where Modern Warfare and Warzone were the same game until they separated it. And they want to keep Warzone 2 and Modern Warfare 2 the same game. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I still think that Warzone 2 would be free to play, though. I think it'd just be the case. When we went to download it, it had to be done through Modern Warfare 2. You'd have to download the full game. You could download it for free to get Warzone, but you couldn't touch multiplayer campaign or Spec Ops or whatever. I think it'd just be the case like this content hasn't been purchased as of yet. So you could touch Warzone, the other game modes you couldn't. I think that's what would most likely happen in that case. But what do you think about that? Because then it kind of leads like all the let's say all the purchases that have been made on Warzone, all the Cold War stuff. You know how they marketed it as a game. Oh, this will be a thing for years to come. That your content, you're not going to waste it. It's going to be here forever. Now what happens?
That's a good point.
Because if that content isn't going to come over, obviously,
and see,
they
that's
want to
the
keep
thing.
it the same thing.
I think they originally want Warzone. They wanted Warzone to be a thing to last forever. I genuinely believe that. But I think because of how messed up it is and how just buggy, glitchy, people aren't liking it as much as they used to, I think they kind of realized, okay, wow, this is going to die. Like, this is going to die hard. We need to improve. And this is, I think, their way of improving, taking what they learned and learning from the mistakes they made with Warzone 1, going into Warzone 2 and fixing those mistakes and making a well-rounded experience. Who knows? Maybe in the future, if they go back on their word and they say, oh yeah, by the way, Warzone 2 has Vanguard and Cold War, I guess that could happen in the future. But I mean, at the same time, it's like the same argument that you can make with, not even just Warzone, but Black Ops Cold War too. You know how many people have bought dozens of bundles in Cold War, dozens of bundles in Modern Warfare, and that's just the yearly game. To me, it's kind of like that, where it's like, okay, now this next version of Warzone, you're going to have these operators, you're going to have these characters, you're going to have these guns and bundles for this game. So, I don't know. To me, it seems to be much of the same for Activision when it comes to that. But it just prolonged because we've been used to Warzone for almost 2 years now, which, funny enough, it feels like it's been longer because just of how things have been.
It feels like we've definitely spent a lot more time on it, and it feels like it's definitely been around for a bit longer.
It's going to be only 2 years old in March.
Time flies, and by the time, I promise you, time's going to fly, and the 5-year anniversary of it will come up.
Yeah.
Just like Fortnite. I think with Fortnite, that's already been out for like 4 or 5 years, maybe.
Yep.
I think.
That 2017, right?
Yeah, 2017. So it'll be coming up to 5 years, like in about a year's time or so.
Wow.
So that's one of the things. Like, I remember when that launched, and again, I don't really play Fortnite, but
yeah, I don't play it either, but I definitely remember that too.
Yeah.
Shit, we're old.
We're old. We're turning old.
We're old men. Shit, man. I mean, that's it's just wild to me that so many things realistically have happened in the Call of Duty community that I think a lot of people would in the moment be like, oh, nothing's happening with Call of Duty and this is a dying game and right?
All that stuff, yeah.
I think people in hindsight, I think we can all realize that a lot really has happened. I mean, in the span of 2 years, let's just ignore the Black Ops 4 thing that happened, right? Let's just say in the last span of the last couple of years with Modern Warfare, Warzone, Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard. I mean, so many things have happened. I mean, Black Ops Cold War especially. I mean, I genuinely believe, and just because I love Black Ops Cold War, but I genuinely believe Black Ops Cold War's yearly cycle was some of the craziest things to have ever happened in Call of Duty. And so many things were happening at the same time for Call of Duty that, I feel like we all kind of take that for granted sometimes in the moment. I mean, I was loving every second of it. I was just going in. The season launches were so much fun. Doing live streams for that, and all that kind of stuff. And I genuinely hope for Vanguard that Vanguard picks it up and Vanguard can make me feel that way again. Because for season 1 of Vanguard, I was like, well, I guess we have a new season. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's whatever. It didn't make me feel like Black Ops Cold War made me feel like, where, let's just say, for example, Season 6. Season 6 is, I think, is my favorite season of Cold War, where it's like, whoa, new zombies map, Forsaken, Mason's the operator, whoa, Halloween zombies,
There's
like,
quite a lot to it.
whoa, like, they got a lot of cool things. And then we have
so
Season 1 of Vanguard, where it's like, oh, Krampus. Like, I don't know. It's just so I hope season 2 and Terra Maledicta makes me feel that way again. It makes me feel pumped up to be like, yeah, new season. I don't know, but we'll see. I really hope Terra Maledicta is a better experience overall, and I hope Warzone 2 as well is a better experience overall than Warzone 1 because, as they say, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with season 2 for Vanguard, I think that'll be like what season 1 should have been. I think personally, I think it'll definitely be better. So. Definitely for zombie players because we're getting actual zombies content. So it will be better.
For sure.
But to what extent, we'll just have to wait and see on that and see if it actually is or not. But I think it will be. What could be worse?
I guess you're right. What could be worse? I mean, they could just delete the game. That would be worse, because then they would be just giving up, and that would be terrible. Because I think that's another thing that people need to realize. Where I think we're a lot of content creators and a lot of people who are like super harsh on the game, don't play Vanguard, don't play right, uninstall it, whatever, right. I think where a lot of people need to realize is that us as content creators, and we've said this so many times, I feel like I'm blue in the face saying this. We want the game to succeed. So we're harsh on the game because we believe in the game and we believe in the developers and we want to see things do good and we want to see things be better, which is why I think this is a fantastic thing that, people like Patrick Kelly at Infinity Ward stepped forward and basically apologized to the entire community on how broken Warzone is. We love seeing shit like that because then now we know as consumers, we know as players, they're actually listening. They actually know what's wrong. Yeah. They actually know what's happening. And we now also know that Activision has been giving them a hard fucking time because of all the crazy shit that's going on there. So, I think even more, I'm starting to sympathize and empathize more with the developers in this regard. And, I just really, really hope that that their passion gets turned into something really good again, man. It's time. It's time to have that passion. It burst into just this amazing explosion of creativity. And I think we have people like Whiplash. I'm sure you've seen his video, "Make Zombies Great Again."
Yes, I did. Yes,
I fully stand behind that. I think absolutely. MZGA, everybody, make zombies great again, because I think where the developers, not just for Warzone, but I think developers on the Zombies team, they're super passionate about the game, and because they were forced to work on Duran Fong to say that Vanguard has zombies in it, I think it's obvious that things have taken a toll, and things have been bogged down, and things aren't really great. And you can kind of, I don't know, to me, I can feel the developers' anger. To me, I can feel the developers' anger through the map because of how just not polished it is. So, I think this is definitely, with Make Zombies Great Again, I think this is a huge calling to the developers too. And I think this is something the developers can look at and say, you know what? Yeah. You know what? We can make games. We've made great games. We can do it again. We can, so I think us as the community, I think it would be a good thing to prop up and really support our fellow developers and to really give them some words of motivation, maybe if they're lacking some, or not lacking some because they need to work and make money, but just give them a little bit of an extra kick to really give them cheer them on, I guess,
Yeah, and I think definitely that whole thing will happen for whatever Treyarch's next actual game is, their full game. I can definitely see the hype for it being incredible, and I think the zombies in it will be really good as well.
I agree.
I think it will be. Honestly, I think with everything happening with Microsoft and that, zombies will be a little bit more of a higher priority. And obviously, time will tell with this.
Yeah.
But I think whatever they bring to the table, it'll be good.
I really think so too. With the continuation of the Dark Ether storyline, we get to see what happens with Peck. We get to see what happens with, our characters being detained. We get to see what happens with Eddie being the director. There's so many amazing plot lines that are going to be fulfilled in Black Ops Cold War 2 or whatever the next game is going to be called. I mean, I'm really, really looking forward to that. And to be honest, man, I said this, I think, either last week or the week before on the podcast. The thing that's keeping me into Vanguard Zombies right now is the story. I want to see what happens with the Dark Ether entities. I want to see what happens with, Von List and Court Effects. Now that I've listened to some of the radios, I've listened to some of the rocks on the ground that you listen to, I want to see what happens with the story. And of course, I want the gameplay to be good, but I really want to see what happens with the lore of it all, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a good foundation is set for some story back for when the Dark Ether story really kicks off. And once we get our next game, it'll tie into certain things here and there. But
for sure,
I think it'll be good. Yeah, I think for story wise, that's where Vanguard can really shine, and that's where maybe it should focus more at this point.
Maybe
just to give us a little bit more story and to kind of set the foundation to explain a few things.
Yeah, and honestly, if you think about it, that is kind of what they're doing through their gameplay, too. Because you have Verkana the Last, which is the Healing Aura artifact, Dark Aether entity. And then you have Zabala the Deceiver, which is an enemy that we're going to be fighting both Fang and Terra Maledicta, which is confirmed to be part of a cult called the Sisters of Agony, which is basically like the right hand of Cortifex. And there's like some interesting lore there, and it's like, who are the Sisters of Agony? What's Verkana's story? Because they mention in the half Easter egg we have in Fang that Cortifex went to Verkana's village and slaughtered everybody in the village. So it's like, whoa, that's interesting. What kind of story there? Verkana is like super resentful of Cortifex. That's why she's helping us as a healer. And like, there's some cool stuff here. Like, I think this is some really cool world building. That's the one major thing Vanguard has going for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too. I think definitely is doing a lot of that. And I think if they can double down on it, I think that's going to be incredible. And that's something the game can really do well. And I think, again, if they continue to do what they're doing with the style of gameplay they're kind of choosing to go with, where it's not round-based, making it so that story really jumps out more, that's what can really make the game somewhat important
for sure,
to like the zombies history.
For sure,
so
dude.
We'll look back on this game and be like, okay, game wasn't that fun, but it did a lot for the story. Just like with Black Ops Cold War, the intel system.
Yeah, obviously, dude, the intel's good.
Game, but like that's something we can look back on and be like, right, that was good about this game.
Exactly.
Vanguard Zombies made the story pop out a little bit more in gameplay, even though the gameplay wasn't that great. So I think that's something definitely that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting too about the whole, what's going on in the story right now. Funny enough, and by the time this video is out, you guys will have already seen me on Greg FPS's Hardest Zombies quiz. But what I kind of found out during that quiz that I did with Greg, originally I didn't know about this until he asked the question, but Von List is an ancestor to Dr. Jaeger. Remember Dr. Jaeger from Cold War?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
So he's an ancestor. So there's actual like serious ties there with the Nazis, and then Jaeger joins Omega, and like that's really interesting to me. That's really interesting to me. Where when you like establishing Von List, I think when you're establishing Von List in this storyline, I want to see a reference to Jaeger. I want to see a reference to Omega Group in some way, because now that I know that, it's like, okay, there's no fucking way they don't do anything with that in Vanguard. There's no way that they do nothing with that. So
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens there.
I'm still waiting to see Samantha and Eddie
as little kids, right?
At some point. Yeah.
That would be cool.
I'm still waiting to see that, because I think that will happen definitely at some point.
I hope so too.
It has to happen towards the end, or I hope they give us like subtle hints towards it, maybe during the middle of the game's life cycle. But
Yeah.
I think that's something that will happen, and it'll be very cool when it does.
I would love that. I really hope that is
Hmm.
a plot point in Vanguard. We get to see Samantha and Eddie as young kids, and maybe they, Cortifex is going to kill them or something, and that's where our operators have to step in and save the day. And then with the combined powers of our dark ether entities, we like shoot off an energy blast
Shoot
and
it
kill
from a
Cortifex
laser
or
or
something.
something.
I don't know. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
about like Kingdom Hearts 3, where like Xehanort, he's got his Keyblade, he's gonna like defeat Sora, he's got his giant beam of energy, and then Donald and Goofy show up, and the power of Trinity
They
and
do
the
stuff.
big laser beam shoots back at Xehanort. Kind of a moment like that, where you got all the dark
Everyone
ether
comes
entities.
together.
And they're like, you're not going to hurt Samantha. You're like, she's too important to die. And, and they all together. And I think it'd be so cool. I think that'd be a really cool moment. Hey, who knows? I'm just a nerd. I'm just nerding out over headcanon.
Honestly,
but,
no, I think that can happen. I think that'd be cool if that happened. That's what we kind of want, That's like, it's kind of like, how we picture the Great War, like
right.
all the apocalypse fighting each other, Shadow Man on one side, Dr. Monty on the other, shooting lasers and all that, and like some really cool stuff going on. I think we all had a thought about what that is kind of like would have been like to actually witness.
Dude,
in like
if
a cinematic,
anything, we could have that in Vanguard, because think about it this way, and I know I'm going to make another reference to Kingdom Hearts here, the 1,000 Heartless fight.
Okay.
Where Sora has to defeat 1,000 Heartless all by himself, right? Well, our operators have to defeat 1,000 zombies all by themselves. Cortifex raises a giant army of the dead, and that's like Cortifex's last stand or something. And you're just going absolutely fucking crazy with your like dark ether entity powers, like using the true essence of Frost Blast, the true essence of Ring of Fire, and it's almost like you are a physical embodiment of those demons or like the entities, and you have the power, and you're just shredding through these crowds of zombies, and like it's this giant war or something like that. And that could be really, really cool to have something like that. Because this game kind of establishes that kind of a vibe to it, where, Cortifex's army of the dead and Von List and the Nazis are trying to get a heads up in the war. The whole things are kind of building up here. So I feel like having that as a huge climax of like the 1,000 zombies fight, like the 1,000 Heartless fight in Kingdom Hearts, could be something really, really fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think something like that where you kind of embody the dark ether entities, that'd be very cool. I could picture it in my head, and it could be where you have to do that is like in the final boss fight as well,
right?
Like you and your whole team. That'd be cool. I think that's something they could definitely do. Will they do it, though?
I don't know. I mean,
that's one of the things where it's like,
yeah. I mean, at this point, guys, this is headcanon.
Yeah.
At this point, guys, this is headcanon. We're putting ideas out there because we're passionate about the game, and there could be some really fun ideas. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but I think definitely we're going to defeat Cortifex in some capacity. We're going to kill Von List probably. Something's going to happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh man, but I mean, a lot of stuff going on in the Call of Duty world. I mean, with all the Warzone stuff, Terra Maledicta, things like that. Pretty wild. Pretty wild stuff. This is all in the span of like 1 week too. Keep that in mind. Like, this is all in the span of 1 week that we had all this information. We have all this stuff about Warzone. We had all this stuff about zombies. Like, it honestly felt really great to be a Call of Duty fan, to like really absorb all the information and to really go like, oh yeah. Like I'm getting some information. Yeah, we want to hear some more feedback. We want to hear what's happening. We want to, like, especially since over the last couple months, a lot of people would agree with me. And when I say Sledgehammer hasn't really communicated to the greatest extent that we all expected them to. So,
and that's something I would have expected more for them, because during World War II they were really good at that. They had proper weekly updates. But again, it all comes down to Activision most likely. That's why. It's not as smooth as it was. But
For sure.
that's something I would like to go back to in future games where we have a lot more communication. This is a glimpse of that as well. So
For sure. Absolutely. We need a lot more community feedback. We need a lot more community engagement. And that's the thing that's going to really keep this game alive. That's the thing that's really going to keep the community alive. And, yeah. And then, of course, making zombies a little bit better. The background just died on me. And we're back, everybody. Technical difficulties there. Just needed to get the background back up and running. It died on us there. But I mean, we only have a couple minutes left in this episode anyways.
yeah.
I mean, where were we? We were talking about all this crazy stuff going on in the Call of Duty community. And we were talking about
and, like,
yeah, that's right.
And all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be crucial for Warzone 2, especially Modern Warfare 2. And things like that. And I really hope the future of Call of Duty is bright, and I really want the game to succeed, and we'll see what happens. It's really just a big old we'll see what happens. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild, actually, man.
I think it'll be good. I think as time goes on, there'll be a lot of good changes for the franchise in general, and maybe later down the line, zombies will be back up to where it once was as a very good third game mode.
For sure. I think there's definitely a lot of potential for it. And yeah, it's going to be, I think the future can be bright, and I really don't know what else to say there. I think I'm looking forward to the future.
That kind of wraps up. Yeah. I think that kind of wraps up the episode quite well.
I think it kind of does.
Things are looking good.
Yeah, things are looking good. We talked about a lot of stuff today. We talked about Terra Maledicta, Warzone 2. We talked about the community a little bit. I mean, hey, hopefully you guys are excited for Terra Maledicta, and hopefully you guys enjoy the new map on Valentine's Day. I know for a fact that a lot of people are going to be grinding it out tomorrow and really trying to form their opinion on the map, and hope everyone has fun with it. So yeah, everybody
I do as well. Yeah, I hope everyone has. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Cosmic, do you have any other closing thoughts before we send everybody off to the dark ether and Terra Maledicta?
Just that I hope the new map is good. I hope you guys all enjoy it. I'll be playing it a little bit for later dates because I'm busy, but I have hopes for it that'll be better than Durham Fang. So go for it. Don't have your expectations super high, and you won't be disappointed.
Well, there you go, everybody. There you go. Well, everyone, have fun with DLC 1, Terra Maledicta for Vanguard Zombies. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this episode of the podcast and you want to see more, leave a like, subscribe to the Division's YouTube channel, and check out all of the links down below in the description so you stay up to date with what we do. And also, comment your favorite part down below in the description. What do you guys think about Terra Maledicta, Warzone 2, the community, what's going on in the Call of Duty world? Share it in the comments. And I guess with that said, everybody, once again, thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time. Peace out.
Bye, everyone.